Lil Pete, Mac G, Donkey, and Jag would be posted up on Echo Ave getting their trap on. It was 8 o'clock at night in the early 2000s. The crack epidemic would be booming. Artists like Yo Gotti, Young Jeezy, and Gucci Man would be blaring through the night air. The middle-aged teenagers had already sold 1.5 ounces of the butter-looking dope. They only had 14 grams left, and it was going to move smoothly because smokers would come shop every 10 minutes. Not only that, the hike was the first neighborhood you entered leaving from downtown Charleston, so tourists would come spend more than $1,000 on random nights. By 10 o'clock, the young hustlers would have all the money in their pockets and would plan to do something for the weekend. Trail, Lil Macon, Florida Boy, and Domo would be posted up on Bread Lane. They had on all black and was lurking in the darkness, plotting on the next come up. Trail had called one of his homies from high school who had the pounds of weed. Lil Macon had a homie he knew from a group home in Columbia who sold coke. And Florida Boy had a homie with a brand new 2004 BMW coupe. Basically, the plan was to jack the three guys for their drugs, money, and cars. One by one, as the young men pulled up, Dahmer would be the one put the 38 special to the guy's head and take everything they had. At the bando, the guys would split even. So what we doing this weekend, fools? Lil Macon asked the homies. Shit, I ain't know. Whatever you want to do, Trail replied. The movie theaters would be extremely packed with people from each neighborhood in the city. Trail and the guys off the Macon would be about 30 deep. Most of the guys off the Macon caught a cab, rode a bike, or literally walked the 3 miles to the movies. The guys off the Macon was so deep, they would strong on random people and take chains and Jordans and put them on and proceed about their night. By the time Lil Pete and the guys off the hike pulled up, they would only be about 10 deep. Only a minute and a half would go by before Lil Pete and them was surrounded by the Macon boys. Trail had the whole Macon behind him as he walked up to Lil Pete. Before Trail could get out a word, Lil Pete sucker punched him and all hell broke loose. Lil Pete and Trail would be going toe to toe before a Macon goon came from behind and knocked Lil Pete off his feet. Mac G and Donkey would be fighting off 7 Macon boys. The duo was putting on a good fight, but there was no match for the many members. Jag would try to help Lil Pete by slamming a Macon boy on his head, but more than 20 Macon boys stomped him out. North Charleston Police Department would come about 20 cars deep with sirens blaring. Everyone would disperse, running and jumping into cars or ditches. Charleston teenagers were so wild at that time, more than 15 cars was reported stolen that night. A few days later, it was second period, and Trail was sitting at the back of the class, high off purple weed. Suddenly, Lil Pete, Mac G, Donkey, and Jag were walking to the classroom. All Trail could do was stand up and fight. Lil Pete and Trail would go toe to toe for the second time, but this time, Trail did not have the gang with him. The 4 young men would beat the pulp out of Trail, then run off the school campus. A week later, Donkey, Mac G, and Lil Pete would get chased all the way to Jag house on Brutus Ave. Jag would bust 4 shots at the car with his .32 revolver, striking it once on its rear bumper. One day, Don Mo would be walking alone from the corner store when Lil Pete, Mac G, Donkey, and Jag, and like 4 more guys would pull up on him. Don Mo would pull out his all-black 22 and start letting off shots on Sproul Avenue. 2 guys off the hike would get struck in the chest and stomach. Don Mo would try to run, but more than 9 bullets would strike his back before he collapsed on the ground and died. A month later, Jag and Donkey would be sitting on Jag's porch on the hike when a car pulled up and 2 gunmen jumped out. Jag and Donkey would release fire simultaneously as the shooters, Jag would get striked more than 4 times, but he hadn't realized it because his adrenaline was pumping. Donkey had been struck in his throat, and Jag was trying to help him and bring him back to life and tell him to breathe. But Jag eventually ran out of breath and blood and died on top of Donkey. Now, about 3 months later, Trail would be posted in the cut with his mask on. He was on demon time. When the car pulled up, Trail ran up to the car with his all-black 357 pointed to the window. The undercover cop shot through the window, striking Trail 6 times in the neck, chest, and stomach. Trail died before he hit the ground. 1 year later, Florida boy and Lil Macon would be riding around Charleston in a stolen 2005 Mercedes. They were cruising the city streets looking for a sucker to jump out on and rob him. When they pulled up to the red light, a black Ford F-150 pulled up on side of them. The passenger would down the window and begin to fire into their car. Florida boy would get struck inside his leg, and Lil Macon got struck inside the kidney. Lil Pete put the pedal to the metal in the Ford F-150. Those niggas thought that shit went over in it, Mac G said as the truck reached speeds of 80 miles per hour. It was the heat of the moment, so Florida boy gave chase. Lil Macon would be hanging out the window, letting off shots, holding his kidney with his left hand. He would strike Mac G in the back of the head and graze Lil Pete across the shoulder. Lil Macon would sit back down in the car and take his last breath. Florida boy would watch the police blue light Lil Pete, so he drove the other way. When Florida boy pulled up to an abandoned house, he would pull his deceased friend from out of the car and put his body close to the road. He would then light the car on fire, hoping to destroy all the evidence. By the time Florida boy made it home, reports of the shootout would be on the news. Lil Pete would finally get caught by the police. The next video to appear was a wanted picture for Florida boy's arrest. Psh, damn killer rat, Florida boy said as he heard a knock at the door. Hey, this is North Charleston Police Department. Come out with your hands out. Boy, it's your boy Marlo. Alright, now I about to give y'all boy my take on the situation. Alright, now, Lil Pete, you see Lil Pete been spinning on them boy and still end up ratting. You see what he's saying? He rat soon and ball grab him. He rat before Florida boy could have made it home, the police been picking him up. You see what he's saying? And every day you got people like that. Now, Mac G, he been get up around the beginning of the story. You see what he's saying? I rock with Jag because Jag been on point at the beginning. You see what he's saying? He one of them type soldiers which you gonna be on point or you ain't. You see what he's saying? Jag been on point at the beginning. You see what he's saying? He get them boy off them boy. You feel me? Nah. Wait. The almost situation. I think Damo been walking by himself. You see what he's saying? And shit, me personally, I love being by myself because being by yourself, that's like, I feel like goddamn Matt Dillon when I buy my, but Damo been by himself and he been outnumbered. You see what he's saying? Nah, Florida boy, shit, he went out like a soldier, you know? But basically, these people in the story is damn near every group or gonna be every group in the future or every group that done passed on. You see what he's saying? Few people gonna die, few people gonna snitch, few people gonna go to jail, few people gonna keep it solid, like 2 people gonna be left still living. You see what he's saying? One of them boys will be traumatized like hell, the other one going, yeah. You see what he's saying? Because the streets is damn near, hold on, let me rephrase it. The streets is worse than the wars that be going on overseas. You see what he's saying? The bloodshed be going on for a little while now, but that shit won't be that long. But like I always say, 6 months you can calculate the murders that's going to happen in America. All 50 states now, all 50 plus states, all the murders that happen in America in the next 6 months, it's going to be more casualties and murders than that of the Russia and Ukraine war. And that's facts right there. So how are we not inside World War III in America? You see what I'm saying? But basically, with us being in World War III, you can't be coming outside popping perks 8 o'clock in the morning. You ain't gonna be able to react. You see what I'm saying? Living in World War III, you ain't gonna be able to just only be focusing on that money 100%, 90%, 80% for about a month long. Sometimes every few weeks, every month, you're gonna have to go about a month or 3 weeks where you out lurking, you out trying to see what's going on at least 70% of the time. You getting your money 30% of the time, but the other 70 you can be, you gotta sometimes fall back and see what's going on the battlefield, because like I said, we in World War III, and in America, we toting 50 round drums, 100 round drums, 150 round drums. You see what I'm saying? And they ain't even toting those in most third world places. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, that's your boy Marlo. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. You see what I'm saying? We in a war. Y'all street soldiers. Pay attention. That's your boy Marlo. I out.